All right, what's up? Welcome in. I'm Brian Edwards, MajorWager.com. Let's talk some Week 12 college football. I'm certainly not done with my handicapping, but I have a few plays ready to roll that we can discuss. And obviously, as always, especially this time of year, we got plenty of injury news. Okay, let's start with my man. Mama can't spell Brian Edwards, South Carolina's all-time leader in career passing yards. Had a knee injury against App State last week. He's listed as questionable, but at Muschamp's post-practice presser yesterday, I'm coming to you Wednesday, late afternoon. He said he expects him to play. He also expects Tavian Feaster, the transfer from Clemson, to be back as well. Rico Dowdle returned last week, but they lost 20-15 to App State to fall to 4-6, and they have 2 weeks to prepare for. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. They have 2 weeks to prepare for Clemson after they go to College Station this week. They're a double-digit dog. I think 10.5-11 was the last number that I saw. I'm sorry. My apologies. Now that I look at this, it's Brian Edwards and Shi Smith that are going to be ready, and it does not look good for Tavian Feaster. My apologies. So let me take that back. Best receiver, B. Edwards. Second best receiver, Shi Smith, are going to be good to go for A&M. Not looking so good for Feaster, but they've got Mon Denson, and they've got Fenwich, the redshirt freshman that played pretty well against Vandy, and obviously they've got Rico Dowdle back also. Okay, Kelly Bryant, Missouri's quarterback, has been upgraded to probable earlier. Actually, I'm not sure if that was this morning or yesterday, but remember, he's got a hamstring injury, did not play against Georgia, but now what I fear here is midweek last week, and I don't know if it was just, coaching semantics, kind of just, playing some games on, preparation and whatnot for the other side, but they upgraded him to probable from questionable last like Tuesday or Wednesday. And then first thing Saturday, you see he's doubtful. And then the other guy, I believe his name was Taylor Powell, started, and they got bageled at Georgia. So I don't know that I really trust the Kelly Bryant probable. Whatever the case, Florida's favored by 7. And I don't know that I trust this either, but Mullen said earlier in the week that he expected Jabari Zuniga to be ready to go. Zuniga sat out again last week after making a couple big plays in the first quarter of the Georgia game. Aggravated that ankle that's been the issue ever since the third quarter of that Kentucky game in week 3, I believe it was. And Jeremiah Moon is questionable, and I kind of think that's probably more like doubtful. So Florida could be missing a couple of key guys on defense. It's going to be cold as well. Temperatures in the 40s. But, and look, if you watch Curb Enthusiasm like me, the weatherman can be wrong whenever the hell he feels like it, and it's no problem. Actually, who the hell am I to talk? I'm having a horrible college football season, and I still have my job. So, but anyway, I don't know that I trust the weatherman this far out, but I literally looked on weather.com for Columbia, Missouri this coming Saturday, and it is a noon Eastern start, so 11 a.m. Central, and I hope I was following it as if it was an hour behind Central when I was looking at the hour to hour on Saturday. It's going to be fine. Doesn't look like there's going to be hardly any wind, and a little chilly. No big shakes. Although advantage a little teeny bit in Missouri because the Gators haven't played any cold weather yet this year. But the 40s in the afternoon, if the sun's out, no big deal. I don't think. But anyway, Um, as a road favorite under Dan Mullen, the Gators are 4-1 against the spread. Illinois wide receiver Ricky Smalling out for the rest of the season. 24 catches, 225 yards, 1 touchdown. Gosh, we had the FSU video. I don't think I got to talk about how much I liked Illinois last week. I hit that plus 500 money line play. That'll work. Look, and I get it. I know. If you watch the game, I was thrilled. Flippin' to get ahead of the number after trailing 28-3. Wait, they trailed. Did they trail 31-3 at one point? No, I think they made it 28-10 that first play of the fourth quarter. Then Michigan State got a field goal. Then Illinois got a quick touchdown. And there was a pick six in there. And then they missed the extra. Oh, God. I mean, I was just, hey. All they had to do was cover, and I was going to be stoked because it was a bloodbath for me early Saturday. But I rallied. I had LSU in the afternoon session. I don't even remember. I had like 8 plays. I don't even remember if I've ever had no games at night. Like a lot of times I'm just 5 to 7 plays on a Saturday. I had either 8 or 9. Maybe it was 9 when you counted Illinois money line, which was 2 plays, 11 plus points as well. And they were all over at the 3:30 Eastern games. I had nothing at night. I personally took some FAU, and I hate I didn't get it to my clients. I hate I didn't get it on toward my horrible record so far this year. I hate I didn't get it on there, but I was so busy following end games and half times and preparing my NFL picks, etc. Anyway, moving on. Okay, the big personnel news right now, or today, I think it was this morning. Yeah, it was a few hours ago. I think it was Bruce Feldman of the Atlanta Athletics, that broke it. Ohio State star Chase Young leading the nation in sacks, or at least he was going into last week. I don't think anyone overtook him. He got the 4-game suspension for the loan from a family friend, whatever. They appealed it, and they won the appeal. And he's only suspended 2 games. And how convenient. Maryland and Rutgers. How convenient. So he'll be ready for Penn State at home next week. Chase Young. I'm not complaining. I want everybody full strength. No problem. And first off, Ohio State's 0 for life against me. For natties, for scrub bowl games, like Muschamp's first year, we beat him in a bowl game when Oscar had was already on the sidelines, had already taken that job after he had retired to go to high school volleyball games, which I called bullshit on that very flippin' day. Called BS, or I predicted after the press conference where he was so mad when the 3-game suspension was announced. I predicted that night that he would not be the head coach at Ohio State this year that we're in right now, which was obviously accurate. I know what Oscar's going to do before he does. And now I was saying, even before he took a job at Fox, which made it so obvious that he's going to go to USC. Anyway, we don't need to talk about that clown. Let's talk some other games. I'm just scrolling down my Twitter feed because if you don't follow me on Twitter, at Vegas B Edwards is my handle. I tweet about injuries just constantly during football season. And this isn't an injury, but there's some stats as I'm going to go North Carolina +4 tomorrow night. Again, this is early Wednesday evening, late afternoon. So tomorrow night being Thursday. I'm going to go the Tar Heels +4 at Pitt. Sam Howell has been as advertised. Disappointed the semis. Was a verbal commit there. Decided to go in and be the Mac Brown franchise quarterback, go in early for the spring, start as a true freshman, be a 4-year start. Maybe he's good enough to be a 3 and done. We'll see. He's been legit, man. 26-5 TD/INT ratio, 2,472 passing yards, 19-3 TD/INT ratio the last 5 games. North Carolina has been an underdog of more than three times this year, 3-0 against the spread. And check this out. They're only 4-5 straight up, but 8 of their 9 games have been one-possession games. Their 5 losses are by merely 19 combined points. And one of the losses came in 6 freaking overtimes in Blacksburg. And yeah. So they haven't, all their L's have been one possession games. Now, could they lose by 5, 6, 7, or 8 and we lose? Sure. We're going to hope that doesn't happen. I think they've got a great chance to win outright at Pitt. Last night, Akron fell to 0-10, both straight up and against the spread. David Payne Purdue had a tweet. I think it's the first time in long time. I forget what the date was that he threw out there. Oh yeah, these are some big injuries. Okay, Wake Forest. I mean, just horrible timing for the Demon Deacons. They were 7-1 going into last week. They lose to Vatech, who's another team I'm bullish on this week, -5.5 at Georgia Tech. If we don't get to that, I like the Hokies. They've been playing great after a horrible start. But so Wake, right ahead of the Clemson game, their stallion outside of Jamie Newman, he's a stud too. Although he had 2 costly picks last week, but Sage Surratt, their wide receiver, he's out for the rest of the season with a shoulder injury. Crushing blow for the Demon Deacons. He leads the ACC in receptions with 66, receiving yards with 1,001, and touchdown catches with 11. And not only that, their senior wide receiver, Scotty Washington, did not play against Vatech last week, and they missed him thoroughly. He's got 35 catches, 607 yards, and 7 touchdowns. He is very iffy this week. All the injury reports say questionable, but I saw one beat writer for Wake say he was out. So I don't expect him to play. Now, this is a Sun Belt game, but a lot of you probably got familiar with Dan Ellington orchestrating that Week 1 upset at Tennessee, and Georgia State has had a really solid year. And again, kind of like Wake, horrific timing. They've got App State this week, and App State's in a flat spot after winning outright at South Carolina. Although I'm not really sure what those Sun Belt standings are, so maybe I shouldn't have said it was a letdown spot. It might be they might need it to clinch that division or what have you, because I doubt Georgia State's lost more than 2 Sun Belt games, but I'm not going to bother you by looking it up during the video. But point being, Georgia State QB Dan Ellington is out this week with a knee injury. 1,813 passing yards on the season, 18-4 TDI&T ratio, and he's also big-time playmaker with his legs. 603 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns, and a 4.8 yards per carry average, and that does take into account sacks. So I don't know how many times he's been sacked, but that yards per carry average would probably be up in the 8-9 range, if not for those sacks. So Sage Surratt and Scotty Washington out for Wake. Those are two you have to have those guys to even be in the game with Clemson. And I bet those 2 guys have impacted the line about a touchdown, because, that line's more than 30. I don't think if those guys were healthy, that line would be north of 30. Nothing to do with this week, but I did want to share this for those of you that don't follow or go to Major Wager and read our articles. Our guy Blake Von Hagen wrote this up yesterday. So at DraftKings last week, a guy did put $2 down on a 9-game parlay to win 21 grand. $2 to win 21 grand. How do you do that? Well, you do all money lines. And he didn't do all underdog money lines. But so the Falcons and Dolphins won outright as double-digit dogs last week. So, if you would have put $20 on them to win, I think the Falcons were plus 450, 500. I think the Dolphins were around plus 375, plus 400. If you just did a parlay with those 2 teams, I mean, for $20, you probably made 400. I mean, I'm not sure what those odds would. I have to get a parlay calculator out, but um, it would have been outstanding. No, he had this guy, or he or she. It could have been a chick, of course. This son of a gun. All right, here are the rest of the games. Were they? They couldn't have all been underdogs. Yeah, no, Cleveland was a favorite. They had to rally in the last minute, so he had Cleveland. Didn't Tampa Bay had to rally in the last minute, or they had to shut Kyler Murray rally. I think they did score pretty late too. So you had to have Tampa Bay win against Arizona, the Falcons, as I noted, the Jets Giants game, which had some crazy plays. That game could have gone either way. The Jamal Adams strip and touchdown certainly helped. So Jets, I think they were 3-point dogs, so probably like plus 130, 140. Oh, and then the end, the last one was Monday night, Seattle on the money line. Didn't San Fran have a game-winning potential kick that they missed? Yes. Right? I forget if it was the end of regulation or in overtime, but I'm pretty sure San Fran missed a kick, and then Seattle made the walk-off kick. You know, I guess he still would have won. Well, moneyline parlay. My accounts that I have do not. You don't lose on a parlay with a push anymore. Obviously, I know some still do that on a teaser, and maybe. I know, yeah, no, I don't think these days anybody. He still would have won whether Seattle made that walk-off kick, but he would have won a lot less. Who else? He had the Titans. That wild-ass rally. I mean, this guy got so lucky, man. Don't gamble any of this money, man. Put this money to good use because you're going to give it all back, all the luck you got on this 9-teamer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. The Bears, which actually that one was pretty easy. They were up. Well, they were down 6-0 late in the second quarter, in the last minute of the second quarter, but they were up 20-6, like early fourth, late third. But the Titans, great fortune. You know, Miami had to deny them at the end. Minnesota, Dallas was I mean, all of these games could have gone either way, really, except for Chicago, Detroit. Every one of them. Oh, no, I'm sorry. What am I talking about? The Falcons was a straight up pimp slap. So the Falcons and the Bears were the only easy ones. And the Falcons paid the most. So, yeah, congrats to he or she. $2 won 21 large. And, man, he or she deserved it. A 9-game parlay with all kind of luck, man. Wild. Okay. Let's, all right, here I got a play for you I like. I like Temple catching the 6 at home against Tulane. And you all know I love Willie Fritz. But Temple is plus 6 at home. Cold weather, Philly. These boys from New Orleans coming down. Temple 10-3 against the spread in its last 13 as a home dog with 7 outright wins. 10-3 ATS, 7 outright wins, last 13 as a home dog. Pretty good. The Owls at home this year, 4-1, both straight up and against the spread. Pretty sure the lone L was UCF, but I don't want to bother you looking it up on the air here. Their outright wins for the Owls at home include, look, we know Maryland and Georgia Tech are not having good years, but Power 5 foes beat Georgia Tech 24-2, if I remember right. They beat Maryland 20-17. And most impressively, they beat Memphis 30-28. Memphis' only loss. Tulane has lost 3 of its 4 road assignments outright. And yet they're giving 6 here. I don't get it. And I like this Tulane team. And on a neutral field, by all means, they should be favored. But on the road, maybe 2 or 2.5, 3 tops. 6? No. Temple all day. I told you I like Virginia Tech as well. And look, I know Georgia Tech's playing pretty hard here late. Played Played Virginia tough, won at Miami impressively. They're playing hard. I'm not looking. This isn't a fade of Georgia Tech, even though they are 2-7, most straight up and against the spread. This is just a play on my boys, the Hokies, man, and my dude Hendon Hooker. 7 touchdowns without an interception. 4-0 as a starter. Vatek rolling right now. Coulda, woulda, shoulda beat Notre Dame. And that was when Hooker was a late scratch with an injury. So there you go. Vatek, Temple, UNC. There's you a few plays. Let me go to my live odds and go over a couple more. Oh, Jaden Daniels, the ASU quarterback, upgraded to probable. Stanford's QB KJ Costello is questionable, but the backup Davis Mills is ready to go. You remember they had to play Jack West, a third stringer, a couple times. So it's Davis Mills will go if Costello can't go. Stanford plus 10.5 or 11 at Wazoo. Okay, I don't think Tua is going to play this week. The reason why I think that, because if I'm Alabama, if I'm Saban, I'm not playing him. Why? You can Mac Jones is not any good, but and by the way, Najee Harris was a beast. He carried them back into that game. He carried them. And by the way, our analysis, if you read Major Wager, my quotes from Dr. Michael Gilmore, were they spot on 100 million% accurate or what? At least in my writing. I don't know that I got into it on that FSU video. I tried to explain to y'all, this guy is not healthy. And I used quotes from one of the best surgeons in the Southeast who did 3 of those tightrope ankle surgeries the week before. He knew what he was talking about. And he told me, and I quoted him on Major Wager, on Vegas Insider, in all my articles, on Twitter, this guy is not healthy. He told me 75%. And after watching how he could barely walk off the field after whatever numbing agent they used, it had worn off. Did you see? I mean, he was barely getting off the field on his own power. It took a Herculean effort on a part of him being a warrior, courage, toughness, an ability to pain tolerance. There's the phrase I'm looking for. You're not going to get beat in Starkville. I could play quarterback for Alabama with all those studs, and we'd win at Mississippi State. I don't think Tua's going to play. He hadn't even been on the injury report today. Now they're saying questionable game time decision. I don't think he's going to play. So I forget what the line was early. Now it's 19-ish. Or actually, I see a 17.5 at Westgate, an 18 at William Hill. But then all the other ones are at 19. See, the Westgate's right. They know he's not going to play. Yeah, most of the offshores are 17.5. These guys at Caesars and at Mirage and Stations needed to get it together, guys. You need to get that number down a little bit. What else we got in terms of big injuries? Oh, Auburn. Jatarvius Booby Whitlow, who was the second leading SEC rusher until he came to the swamp and had to take too many gator licks, and he's been out ever since. But this was the target date. It was 4 to 6 weeks. They were hoping to have him back for this one. He's listed as questionable. Auburn's plus 2.5 now, and the big one, besides Whitlow, is Marlon Davidson, 5.5 sacks on the year, one of the country's best pass rushers. He's also questionable. He missed that Ole Miss game. Remember, Auburn's had 2 weeks to prepare here as well. My Illini, they're off this week. What a rally. Did we talk about that already? I think we might have hit on that. I'm looking for the key injuries. So I told you about Costello. Jaden Daniels is back for ASU. All right, none of the games have any red on them. Red is when they have like a QB injury or whatever. So I'm sure I'm missing a bunch, but we've already had another 25-minute video. Goodness gracious. Good luck with your picks this weekend. I think you'll cash with some North Carolina tomorrow. I like Vatek. I lean Auburn if Davidson and Whitlow can play. I like Vatek. Oh, and those Temple. Ow. Browns. And fade the Browns, the Steelers tomorrow. Although I do think Mike Tomlin needs to go back to Devlin Hodges. Steelers are rolling because of their defense. And I loved Mason Rudolph. I loved Mason Rudolph at Oklahoma State. And I'm not saying he's a bad NFL quarterback, but Devlin Hodges is better. He's better. And he's mobile. He can move in that pocket. All right, Brian Edwards. Major wager. Oh, yeah, and I think Iowa beats Minnesota. Although they have some injuries making me a little nervous on that. Hey, kudos to the Gophers, man. And everybody quit sweating the rankings. It's going to play out. It's going to work itself out. God, like I had to turn my TV off today. Everybody's arguing about all these rankings. It's not even a talking piece yet. We have so much football left. All right. Brian Edwards, Major Wager. Good luck with your bets. Have a great weekend. Over and out.